Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Sleepy Gamer. I am coming back again with another magazine to review. It is actually an Electronics Gaming Monthly, and it has a huge exclusive on Mortal Kombat 2 for the home systems. Now, I actually have a little story about this, a stupid story. My gaming pal back in the day, we'll call him Peter because his name was Peter. Now I considered him very lucky because he had a subscription to Electronics Gaming Monthly. I never had one. So that was pretty awesome, right? So he called me up one day, we were gonna hang out. And he was like, "Hey Sleepy Gamer." I don't know if he really said Sleepy Gamer back then. But he was like, "Yeah, I'm coming over, guess what?" I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "I got the new issue of EGM." And I'm like, "Shut up!" And he's like, yeah, it's got Mortal Kombat 2 on the cover. It's got Baraka crossing his blades, and it's got the giant tiger guy, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, "Dude, that's awesome." And he's like, except I'm lying. And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Dude, I was just sitting. Yeah, I didn't get the new EGM." And I was like, "You motherfucker, you son of a bitch." He's like, "That would be an awesome cover, though, wouldn't it?" And I was like, "Yeah, it would." So when we would meet up, when he'd come over, we'd meet up like halfway, and I was walking, and I saw that asshole, and he was holding the damn magazine. He was like, nah, like that. And I was like, you son of a bitch. So we're going to cover this, as you see with the cover, Mortal Kombat 2 for the home systems. This is number 60. So 5 years. It was 5 years of Electronics Gaming Monthly with this one. Plus Contra 5, which is not really a game that ever existed. It's called Contra Hard Corpse. Actually, it's hardcore. Some people say corpse because they don't know what core means. Naked boy on the back, alligator. I think this was like our gaming routine in Florida. You would have to get your controller from the alligator first. All right, see, here's Clay Fighter for the Sega Genesis. Now, I don't think Clay Fighter is a bad game that much, right? I actually thought it was pretty fun. But I thought it was fun for the Super Nintendo. And I'll tell you why. I don't care about the color limitations or anything like that with the Genesis one. The Super Nintendo had the Clay Fighter theme song. That's right, they had a whole theme song for the game. The Genesis did not have it. I was disappointed. That was exciting to hear a full song on the Super Nintendo. I could sing it for you, but you don't want me to. Clay Fighter, Clay Fighter. Come and fight them if you dare. Clay Fighter. Hit them, bite them, they don't care. There's something like that, I think. And I don't know why they showed bullshit pictures like this, because obviously we don't care about the mess. Thank you. Advertisement for CDI, not a good system, and Nintendo made a deal with them, and that's how they have the notoriously greatest Zelda games ever. Ended up not being on the Nintendo system, and everybody was pretty upset about that. Super Street Fighter ad, because this made you want to play a fighting game when you had some idiot kid wearing the jacket that said the name of the fighting game. The video jukebox, in case you wanted to spend the price of the system to avoid having to plug and unplug 6 games. Streets of Rage 3 ad with terrible actors playing the characters. It's really horrible. Streets of Rage 3, I'll get more into it later. It was a disappointment. Page that... Oh, who cares? Who cares what's in that page? We will never know. Game of the month is World Heroes 2 Jet. They added 2 fighters. I guess they gave the game good scores, 8, 8, 8, 9, but it cost anybody $200 who wanted to buy it. So, it probably was a good arcade game. Breath of Fire was a really great game. Capcom made it. Squaresoft published it in the United States. The soundtrack is amazing. The second one was very large, but did not sound as good, in my opinion. Pocky and Rocky 2. Pocky and Rocky was a good game. Fabulous West Dragon. Right. Actual screenshot. This is not an actual resolution of the screenshot from the 3DO game Jurassic Park. Okay, so they review Streets of Rage 3. Now, the reason Streets of Rage 1 and 2 were so good was that the gameplay was good, but Yuzo Koshiro, a Japanese music composer from back in the day, did the music for Streets of Rage 1 and 2 and the ActRaiser games, among some others. He did not do the music for Streets of Rage 3. So if you want to get a screwdriver put it in your ear. If you don't now, you will if you play Streets of Rage 3 really loud. Mickey's Challenge, very unpopular Mickey game. Rebel Assault, Star Wars full motion video game. They actually like Jurassic Park for 3DO, 8878. Don't believe that. It was a shitty game. EGM 2. EGM made a secondary magazine called EGM 2, which was mostly strategy guides. So if you were interested in one of the games in it, it might be good. That was good. Readers have top 10 arcade to home translations. Number 1 is Super Street Fighter 2. Final Fight CD was in here. Virtual Racing for the Genesis. That was impressive. It had the digital Sega processor, I think is what it was called. It was polygons for the Genesis. Super Metroid here. Readers top 10. Super Metroid's number 8, which is wrong. Super Metroid should be number 1. Let me vote. You had to call in your vote. Isn't that cute? Let's see. Gaming Gossip. This is, again, where they are wrong about everything, and I like to go back and laugh. This one's topics. Sega and MGM. Whatever. Acclaim gets Batman Forever. Woo! They made a great game out of that. Where SNK unwraps Grand CD-ROM. Well, if you like to play those fun Neo Geo fighting games, but having to stop for a minute or two before each round, the Neo Geo CD was great. Alright, first coverage of the Sony, well, early coverage of the Sony PlayStation. We didn't know it was the future. Dune was a strategy game. Actually, Dune is sort of the precursor to Command and Conquer. So if you ever played Command and Conquer, you can thank Dune. Let's see here. Well, maybe they would have come. I don't know. I'm not a psychic, but that was actually very much Command and Conquer. All right, so let's see. Samurai Spirits for the Super Nintendo. This is Samurai Showdown for the Super Nintendo, and the sprites were this big, and they took out. Well, they were this big to accommodate for Earthquake, the big guy. I think his name was Earthquake. He's really big and fat. They couldn't make him as big as he was in the arcade, so they kept all the characters super tiny. Equinox marketing didn't make any sense. He's got this guy, he's playing Equinox, they're trying to make it sound like Equinox is really hard. So this is him playing it through his life, missing all kinds of things. He misses his prom, he doesn't do anything, he just plays Equinox. Yet somehow, he dies, right? At the end, he dies. And then it says his grandson continues to play, right? And misses his grandfather's funeral because he's playing the Equinox. He's doing what his grandfather wanted. How the hell did he procreate? In order to have a grandchildren, he would have had to get married. So he didn't have time to do that. He was playing Equinox. We all know that. It just covered that. Let's see here. Live Alive. I was really excited about this. This is a Squaresoft RPG. Had like a bunch of different little RPGs, and it never came to America. They just were like, you know what? Nah. Money, nah. And it's still to this. I don't even think anybody remembers this one. You got Wrestler, all that stuff. There's Double Dragon 5. There's a fighting game, Double Dragon, 1-on-1. So shit. And then they had a movie with people in it, and nobody saw it, so nobody can tell you what it's like. Tempest for the Jaguar. It was probably the best game on the Jaguar, honestly. Maybe not better than Rayman in my personal opinion, but it got Game of the Month when it came out. Here's Clay Fighter Tournament Edition. Now, Tournament Edition of Clay Fighter came out specifically to Blockbusters. So, you know how most exclusive do come to Blockbuster these days. They used to do that too back in the 90s, so that's pretty good. Ultimate Fighter was crap. Here's the funny thing. They're talking to Contra Hardcore right here. That's the Contra 5 that they mentioned. They show a little tiny snippet here, and then they have another section later on in the magazine. I don't know why they do that. I know these EGMs pretty good. Sparkster, that's a sequel to Rocket Knight Adventure for the Genesis. Good game for the Super Nintendo and the Genesis. See, and then they have Clay Fighters 2 right here. And again, it was 16 megs. And as much as the amount of memory doesn't necessarily dictate how good a game is, when your first one was 16 megs, you're not going to do a whole lot more with the second one if it's still 16 megs. It's just how 16-bit worked. Wasn't like today with all the memory we have. Boogerman. Boogerman was very well animated. Terrible game. Rock and Roll Racing for the Genesis. This was an excellent game, Rock and Roll Racing. It had classic tunes like Bad to the Bone, Born to be Wild, those things, something like that. It was a fun game. It was addicting, very addicting. It was actually by Blizzard. It was an early Blizzard game. It was Interplay, but it was Blizzard. Alright, so here's Mortal Kombat 2. This is how they covered it for the home systems. I'm really going to point this out. The only Super Nintendo shots they show is always on this background for some reason. I noticed that. Now it took the first. Here's the crazy thing about these times. The first Mortal Kombat had come out only months before this for the home systems. So it's amazing that things happened so fast back then. And my memory makes it feel like it was a huge amount of time. So it was weird. It was different. And in that short span of time, Nintendo decided that they didn't like Sega getting all the money with the blood. So they were like, yeah, we'll do it for the kids. We'll let them have their spines out and stuff like that. That's what the kids like. That's what the kids like. Showing preliminary shots of Virtual Fighter for the Saturn. That's right. Came out good, flawed, but alright, see, here we go. Contra Hard Corps, right? Alright, so this is the full coverage they do for Contra 5, so I have no idea why they had the little snippet review section they had back then. I don't know why they did that. This is a good game. It was balls hard. I beat Contra 3. My brother and I could go through that. This game, we couldn't get past the 4th stage. They just said, we just don't like our customers. We don't like our players. They think they're going to go and have fun? I don't think so. And you can only beat it if you put it on a harder difficulty. The full game. Maximum Carnage, this is a advertisement for a game where it's a fighting game where you play as Spider-Man and Venom and you go after Carnage. Some people say it's good, and I will say that it is not good. I played it, I did not like it. Super Street Fighter for the Super Nintendo. Big controversy between EGM. They loved Street Fighter. They loved it. All the magazines did back then. It was on 61 of their covers, and they only had 60 issues at this point. But the Super Street Fighter, they did not give very good reviews. I think something happened, personally. I don't know, conspiracy theory or whatever. I do think that they decided that, no, Capcom, no. We're not going to give you another perfect score because you didn't give us an exclusive or something like that. I don't know exactly what happened. I'm guessing. Pocky and Rocky 2. Pocky and Rocky was really good. It was like a shooter, but you controlled how fast you go, so it wasn't self-scrolling. Tin Head, platformer like Sonic for the Genesis. I don't know much about it, to be honest with you. Nobody played it. All right, Revengers of Vengeance. This is it's a shitty game with a shitty name. Revengers of Vengeance. Alright, so for the Sega CD, you can play it as a big rhinoceros, if that's what you want. Here's more coverage of World Heroes 2 Jet and their whole 2 new characters. So if you bought the first World Heroes 2, for $200, whatever the fuck they charge, now you can buy it again and get 2 more whole fighters. So that's wonderful. Basketball, you have basketball players. Magic Johnson's down there looking like that, having that card. That is just the happiest thing that's ever happened to him. Ritters got advertisement. The guy doesn't give a shit about his girlfriend because he actually gets he's actually orgasming right now. I'm not sure if it's from the girl, but he's paying mental attention to the Game Boy. So that's how we worked back then. That's how it was. We couldn't pay attention to the girls. We had to play the games. That was more important. That was more arousing. Alright, Way of the Warrior, a digital fighting game for the 3DO. It tried to copy Mortal Kombat's formula. This was actually made by a small company called Naughty Dog. Now, I don't know what happened to them. I'm not sure if they had any success after this, so who knows? Who knows? Burn Cycle was like a well-praised FMV style game for the CDI, so it had one. Talking about video game production tools for 3D, really advanced stuff. I'm sure they're still using this program to this day. The Flintstones, the live-action Flintstones movie. Look. Let's face it. Nobody asked for this. Nobody did. But to their credit, they cast John Goodman as Fred. Barney, that's his name. Barney was played by Rick Moranis. So that was a good casting call. All right, so here's the thing. Street Fighter, the comic, right? You could order. They let you order. This is made by Malibu Comics. This is that company that EGM backed. They really loved them. And they were shit. They were so bad that they published 5 Street Fighter comics until Capcom said, "Whoa, you guys suck dick. You can't make this comic. You are horrible. It is terrible. We are pulling your license. You are not allowed to make Street Fighter comics anymore." It was that bad. And they promoted it like it was. They actually had issues of EGM with like 6-page mini comics taken from the comics. That's how much they promoted it. And Capcom was like, no. When I was a kid, I was stupid. I read those little 6-page and I was like, hey, that sounds really cool. But it was shit. All right, well, there you go. This is another wonderful issue of EGM. Again, that information I just went through had to feed me for a whole month. You know? That's not a lot of information to go on for a month. And this is, I would say, I'm sharing the table tonight with a guy named Onslaught. He's transforming into Decepticon. He's a bad guy. He's a torso, so he combines with other guys. He's fine. He's a cool toy. All right. Anyways, everybody, have sleep if you want. I'm gonna probably stay up all night again, and just play dumb games. So have a good night, guys. Good luck. Bye.